Hello, I'm Bob Harris. Let's show you a couple ways to use adhesive back stencils to take your floor right up over the top. Now, why would one choose to use an adhesive back stencil on their floor? Well, it's quite simple. You can get extreme detail when using these adhesive back stencils that you could otherwise not get with traditional score cutting or acid stain, for example. So it's really a nice option because of the extreme detail that you can get. What we're looking at is we're looking at the dimensions that are provided from the manufacturer. And if you look at their detail here, it says 60 inches by 60 inches. And what that means is the outer portion of the circumference, or this diameter from here to here or here to here, is 60 inches. So we started off by saw cutting a 60-inch diameter circle into our Skimcoat floor. So you'll notice here, hook the tape over there, and we're in fact right at 60 inches. So that's the first step, okay? Now, also over here on our first design, you're going to see that this particular design is made up of a series of different stencils that we're using. In fact, here you have A and you have B over here, and what we'll do is this is our first overlay. It's called an overlay. So we'll go ahead and seam these together with a piece of tape, and then we'll position it in our circle, and we're going to put our first color of our micro topping down. We're going to allow that to dry roughly 2 hours, and then we're going to come over and seam the next stencil, which is C, letter C, and then D over here, and we're going to position it over the previously skim coated floor, and of course the circle fits in the middle of this. Now, using this method, it's a wonderful way to really create some extreme detail. And as a matter of fact, just to give you a little bit of a preview, I'll hold it up against a window here, and you can see the light coming through how detailed this design is. The way that these stencils work, and I see people that have never worked with stencils when they get their first stencil, they get a little bit confused. You need to understand, on this manufacturer's type of stencil, it says remove backing paper first. And what that means is this backing paper is actually protecting the adhesive, okay? So think about this. What we're going to do is we're going to put this down. We're going to put where it says remove backing paper first, and we're going to position it. We're going to get a registration to position the stencil. Once we've done that, we're going to then flip it over, remove the backing paper first, and then carefully stick it back down. So always remember that. This manufacturer puts right on their stencil, remove backing paper first. That always goes to the concrete surface first as you start. Let's show you how it works. Okay, we've positioned our stencil. It's now centered in our circle. A couple of observations. You'll notice that we have a wall which kind of keeps us into a confined area. So what that means is we're going to have to go this way. I'm going to have to create a hinge, and the way I'm going to create a hinge is simply by taping this edge, like you see right here, burnishing it down, and this is what's going to keep our stencil positioned. Now, oftentimes what I'll do is just simply create another registration line so that when we fold the stencil back, we know that we're in fact going in line. So I'm just going to take a piece of tape here and know that when we fold this back, it needs to go at least to that tape edge. And I'm going to do the same thing on this edge over here, just to make sure that we're triple checking ourselves as a reference. Okay, once again to recap, we have two stencils, A and B. We've taped them together. It's made one stencil. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy and we're going to fold it back. Then we'll get the burnishers. Notice the tape is keeping it positioned here, right where we want. And remember, we said remove backing paper first. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our plastic spatulas and we're going to burnish it down. And this is a really, really important step in that we really aggressively burnish this down to the concrete. Now, it's not a bad idea to work from the middle and work out, removing any air bubbles, okay? Now what we do is we remove this backing paper here, making sure that this adhesive back stencil is in fact adhering to our micro topping, okay? I'm gonna go slow because if it lifts up, we'll have to burnish it right back down. So what we'll do is, again, I'm pushing down aggressively here. And we'll go ahead, we'll get another person on this side over here helping me. So we want to just go in a thin application. I like these little burnishing trowels. They work really good, and a teeny bit really goes a long way. Now I'm troweling over the edge, okay? I don't want to hide the stencil. I always want to be able to see the stencil. Now, all we're trying to do is knock down any little burrs or ridges so it's nice and flat. And then once this is all sanded, which we're about done, we're going to remove this stencil and put our last two stencils on in a contrasting color. Now this stencil has a lot of graphic detail to it, so you really need to watch to make sure we're not removing any of that on this piece of backing paper. So never pull up, always push down on this at this stage. Push straight down with your fingers. You good? Huh? Yeah? Go. Wasn't bad. Nice. Nicely done. Okay, wow, this is a beautiful, beautiful design. Absolutely extreme detail, gorgeous. So what we've done is we've mixed up a very dark tint into our Skimcoat material. And we'll just have Leanne continue to stir it to keep it nice and plastic. And what we'll do is we're going to put little globs and just allow me to come in and move that around. And in the meantime, remember, very light applications.